The name is Dale. I'm here to do the review of the movie Detroit. I'm also here to do a recommendation / review of the Netflix series Ozark. Detroit is a movie directed by Catherine Bigelow, and if you're not familiar with her, she has a great track record. She directed the movie Dark 030, which got critically acclaimed, and the critics just loved the movie. She also did the movie The Hurt Locker, which was my favorite movie of that year it came out, and I believe it also won the Oscar for Best Movie that year. And she also made a movie that's highly underrated called Strange Days that came out in the late 90s, which I really like. And she also did the original Point Break, not the remake that came out a few years ago, the original one in the 90s with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze, which I think is a classic. Detroit is a movie that's about the riots that happened in the late 60s. The movie starts off about the riots, but the meat of the movie and what it's primarily about is a situation that happened at the Algiers Motel, where these white, racist, corrupt cops shoot some unarmed black men, which sounds very familiar with what goes on today. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. So this movie is very relevant to what's going on nowadays. And then it goes on from there to the trial of what happened at the motel and the aftermath and how it affected certain people who was involved and who was there at the motel. And the film primarily concentrates and follows three characters, in my opinion. John Boyega, who plays a security guard. Will Poulter, who's like the lead officer, the white lead officer, racist officer there at the motel, and he does a great job. I was very surprised by his performance because I'm so used to him playing like goofy, light-hearted characters in his past movies, and he looks so young. So it was kind of, when I saw him playing that role in the trailers, I was like, I don't know if I can get behind him doing that. I don't know if he's going to be believable, but he did a great job. And also is another actor who plays the singer, the lead singer at the time of the Dramatics. The name of the actor escapes me. I should know his name, but he also played Ralph Tresvant in the New Edition BET movie or miniseries movie that was on BET, and he does a great job too. And if you're not familiar with the Dramatics, they're an R&B group that came out in the 70s, and it talks about them. It goes into their group a little bit before they actually got a record deal, and he was the lead singer at the time. I really like this movie. I highly recommend it. It's very emotional. It'll get you upset. And what I would like to say, I went to go see Girls Trip, which is another movie that I highly recommend. I did a review on that also, and I didn't even see it the first weekend. I saw it maybe the second weekend, and the place was packed. I went to go see Detroit the first weekend it came out wide release, and it wasn't a lot of people in there. So I just wish that black people, that everybody, but especially black people, would rush to go see these movies like they go to go see Girls Trip, because I think this is a very profound movie, a very important movie, and I think it's a movie we need to see. I never knew anything about what happened at that motel, so it was a history lesson for me. I knew about the riots in Detroit, but I didn't know about that particular situation at that motel. So this is a movie I highly recommend. I give it an A. Next up is Ozark, a Netflix series about this financial advisor who's based in Chicago that has to relocate him and his family to Ozark, Missouri. And the kicker is he does money laundering for a Mexican drug cartel. Things go bad in Chicago, so he has to relocate. And this series reminds me of Breaking Bad. It's like a mixture of Breaking Bad, Fargo, the TV series, and a little of Power. It's more Breaking Bad than Power, and I really like it. I really was surprised because what makes this different than any other drug-related TV series, because you got Narcos on Netflix also, which I highly recommend. It's pretty good. You know, you had The Wire, you got Power, you know, you had Breaking Bad. What makes this so different is that you're following the person who who does the money laundering. That's all he does. He doesn't cook the usually, you're focusing on the person that sells the drugs, or who cooks the drugs up, or who's using the drugs, or one of the henchmen, or the cops just trying to catch the drug dealers. This one focuses on him and his family and all the drama and problems they go through trying to clean all this money. One thing happens after another. Just when they solve one big problem, another problem comes up. And what I really like about this is and Justin Bateman is the guy. He's the financial advisor who's doing all the money laundering. And what I like about his character, he's very smart, of course, but he's not one of these guys that as soon as the problem come up, he got the answer right away. You can see the wheels turning in his head as he's trying to figure out, how do I get out this problem? I just got out this last situation, and how I get out of this one. And I love Justin Bateman. I'm a fan. Anything he's in, I go see, or I try to see. Even if the movie's bad, he always shines. He just has that personality. He's always the same person everything he plays in, but it works. Him and Robert Downey Jr. are like the same person in everything they play in. So it makes me think that's his real personality in real life. And he does a great job. He makes the TV series. He has issues with his wife. He has problems with his kids. So it has that family dynamic to it, and it's really good. I highly recommend it. They only did the first season so far. It looks like they're going to do a second season, but this was so good, and even though it didn't tie up all the loose ends at the conclusion of the first season, I would be happy if this was it. I have no problem with them doing another season, but this was so good they can end it just like this. So I highly recommend that. I give that an A, and there you have it.